So, Jocelyn, if you're listening, baby, my thing is to do one thing and one thing only, to help you as a father should. We love you as a family. In 2016, when we took her back to that dorm, and that's the last time I seen my daughter. And now we came out in 2017. We stood on that front lawn. We knew that we was in for a fight, but we didn't know how big of a fight. But we as a family wanted to make sure we stand bold and we stand firm on making sure Joy come home and other young ladies come home. I'm going to continue to do everything I can to see that every handler, everybody who's involved in not only bringing some type of negative vibe towards Jocelyn when she comes out, anything that somebody has did to her to destroy her credibility, anyway, whoever had done the Patreon account, I will make sure that person be prosecuted to the fullest when Jocelyn get out. You know, we just trying to do what's right by our daughter. We're not going to stop fighting now, because my daughter is still being held by handlers and the predator himself. Maybe one day she would thank me for putting up a fight like a father should. I'm not a stepdad. I'm her father. I'm the person who rocked her to sleep at night. I'm the person who did everything I could to make sure that she has a good life. My daughter was in college.
Facebook lied to you. Radio lied to you. Radio fuck you.
Out of all the people that I helped, he said, I know everybody ain't got $100,000 sitting around. He said, but damn, just you could have shown me some love and say, well, I came in with $100. He goes $500. And I told him, God is showing you who for you and who against you. He been showing you that, Rob. And sometimes it takes things like this for you to humble yourself. I said, you got to humble yourself, baby.
Those that have been following me know exactly why I started to get a distaste in my mouth watching Surviving R. Kelly, and why it has made such an impact in this case against R. Kelly. The number one question people will ask is, why are all these women saying the same thing? And they never take into play that just like the government can use a situation of people being affiliated or associated with a person and label it a conspiracy, people can gather together and conspire upon a common interest. Now, this is a cycle that we have seen ongoing since this whole thing came out. When these people want you to cooperate with them and their agendas, they use the exact same tactics. And it goes from the savages to the Claries to even these bloggers on YouTube. The first thing they'll do is they'll try to proposition you, make something worth your while. And then when that don't work, they'll try to intimidate you. They'll start throwing out your names, making false allegations against you, and implying that they have evidence that incriminates you. And then when that don't work, then they start defaming your character. They start trying to paint you out to look crazy, try to make everybody believe you're such a liar so that anything you come out and say, they'll be able to dispute. But at the end of the day, facts don't need all this extra stuff, and the truth don't need all these shenanigans, which I will walk you through as to the first red flag that stood out to me. When all these women got on public platforms implying this man is a pedo, and they're engaging with minors, and they're recording this, but in his case, they can only produce 4 videos when one is missing of the same individual who denied it was her. And then you have the attorney for the people who started all the ruckus saying things like that they had to reconstruct the narrative and break down the notion that everybody had about this whole thing. So when they went from saying that R. Kelly technically made sure all these girls were legal age to, again, forcing this pedo term, that was a red flag, and it should have made people question, well, if all these women are saying they were engaging with minors, why are they being praised as victims? Oh, that's right. Now we have to introduce this brainwash term, like they don't know right from wrong. That's the exact same thing that I saw play out with this girl that is being labeled the Detroit Accuser, which you can still go look up to this day. In the news, they say they hadn't even spoke to this girl, yet they ran this story. And then when you go to social media and you see who the girl is, and the fact that even Tasha K chimed in with the information she was given from the Savages, only for all that information to be bullshit. And then when I tried to tell everybody who this person was, the fact that so-called supporters brought her on the platform, didn't try to clarify anything, and yet again tried to spin it like I don't know what I'm talking about, further signifies what I've said from the beginning. Just like the Clarys and the Savages have pointed out, obviously there's people still within this man's inner circle still in communication with them, and you can take that how you want to. So let's continue to watch this video to solidify what I mean. Tasha K's whole objective and whole attitude now is saying she wants to expose all the lies. I think she better go and revisit some of her stories, particularly the one about this girl and how Jay-Z was implicated in this whole situation. Because if you ask me, that's eerily similar to this whole Patreon account, and why I believe Tasha K was quick to point the finger at the Savages, because she has been through that whole setup before. And then when I saw the Savages doing all this shady stuff, releasing all of these messages, and then have this other guy come on social media to keep feeding these narratives, it became clear to me how they got people to participate. And this message was from them basically telling another individual that they're on video footage doing certain things. So guess what? It would be easy to manipulate a situation and make a person who's done things feel some type of way about being on camera. Some women will stand their ground regardless of what has been said, and some people will be intimidated into doing whatever is asked upon them. But nonetheless, the message that was sent was said, "Hey, I spoke with Kerry Kelly today for a long time. He is willing to help with investigation. We need you also. A lot has been revealed. We know for a fact from another source Rob has you on tape, also sexually. I'll spare you the details. Don't worry about Rob holding you accountable. One of the live-in girls said you watched over them. They couldn't talk to each other, and if they did, you told Rob and they got in trouble. Rob keeps them on Xanax, coke, and alcohol." So they're introducing these drugs and this whole narrative there. And they put this on social media. But they didn't put the part where there's a reply in which this person is saying that, hey, I'm not on video. So it would be obvious why this particular person didn't fall in line in the beginning of the whole bull crap. But I digress. Let's go back to this Detroit Accuser, because she came through with the come through. And if you didn't see my last video, make sure you go and check it out. I posted it in my community tab. I'll also put the link in the description just to avoid being repetitive. But I'll update that information because, like I said before, I realized that obviously I was close. And every time I come out with information, watching these people squirm is very comical. When you see these people that just obsess over everything coming from my channel and feeling it necessary to come and try to slander me, let's keep this fact in mind. I've presented to each person I've ever had conversations with what I feel and what I believe, yet people were determined to keep entertaining bullcrap behind the scenes. So when you start seeing things play out on public platforms, you should start to think, what the heck was going on behind the scenes, as they like to say? How were these people involved with this case and these accusations not actively trying to debunk these lies like they're trying to debunk the bloggers that support R. Kelly? All this is intentional, if you know what I mean. But the point in this video was to update you as to what I thought then versus what this lady came and filled in the puzzle pieces. Because as I told you then, these had to be the dumbest criminals that these people are using to fulfill their agenda. For the simple fact, when they brought this book, Sex Me Out, they didn't even take the initiative to go and get the copyright and find out who wrote the book. But instead, they presented it to other people under false pretenses like it was somebody else. And then they tried to intimidate this girl into going with their plan. Even putting her on a docuseries, trying to pretty much throw out there the notion that she was holding money for R. Kelly. All these things were weird to me, yet people that supported R. Kelly had absolutely no problem. But what she clarified for me was this. Number one, Jay Savage reached out to her. She said she got her info from a female involved, which she later learned was Asante McGee. The same person that has been spinning the narratives about so many, including Azriel, who blasted her, saying that she never saw her and she's a lie. Number two, she says, Jay Savage introduced her to Lizette Martinez. Lizette introduced her to Kelly Rodgers and Gloria and all the rest of the group. So that would explain why these women all have the same stories or similar stories, because as we can see, they can't even stick to their stories. So when people ask, why do all these people have similar accusations? Well, there you have it, because they all conspired together. And according to her, it wasn't the Savages that brought the book up. It was Lizette and Kelly Rodgers. So apparently, they are the one who presented this book to the Savages. But nonetheless, it was the Savages that took this notion to Lifetime, that put all this in our face, that tried to manipulate the facts, that intimidated people into going along with their plans, that allegedly filed false police reports against people, that did all this fraudulent activity. All this can be said about the Savages, yet we're wrong for questioning how this case came upon R. Kelly. It doesn't take a genius to say that you don't have to defend somebody's accusations to defend the fact that in America you are guaranteed, or you should be guaranteed, the presumption of innocence. But unfortunately, that's not the way the law works. And the way this Me Too movement is heading, it is now making it possible for women and even men, if they chose to instead of going to the police and officials and making proper police reports and pushing criminal actions that way, we're going to open the door for them to come out, make all these public accusations, slander a person, and then be surprised if the celebrity does try to give this person money to protect their brand, which is what they want. Think about this. When you see these Me Too cases popping up, why do these people need attorneys if they're victims? No victim needs an attorney because the prosecutor will act as their attorney, last time I checked. These are just things that you should think about as you continue to hear about other celebrities being accused of allegations. And when you sit back and think about how they did R. Kelly and how they're going to continue to proceed with this agenda. Now, I hope this video updated you as to what I saw going on and why I distrust all these people involved. Because they have the same opportunity to provide you real content and information about these people, but what do we see them doing? Getting on platforms, slandering people, and acting like J-Bos, period. Make sure you check out the description box. I will be putting the link to the audio earlier in the clips. Also, I will put in the description box the video that I updated. Have a good day.
Lord, please forgive me how I'm living. Woo, woo.